Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bitamount.com and BitamountLive.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art, and today is June 24th, 2021, and we haven't done one of these videos in a while where we take a look at fakes and copies and talk about some of the ways the auction houses are going out of their way to mislead people. These are the auction houses that sell fakes on Live Auctioneers and Invaluable, and this is our opinion, okay? We have to say up front, this is our opinion that these are all fakes. Just because that's what the lawyers tell us to say, but they're fakes, all right? And one of the things I wanted to go through a couple of things that we came across recently that fell onto our radar that were particularly egregious, interesting, and amusing. And just so you know, when you find something on Live Auctioneers and Valuable, realize that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people have seen it too, and also realize there are ways to verify and check out these companies before you do anything. And you can always send us images. You can send us something through the preview assistant where you can send links to these auctions. We'll be happy to take a look at it and give you your opinion. Often we don't see anything on there that we like, but we see what you're looking for, and sometimes we can send you links to another sale where they got something legitimate, or send us images. But you know, be very proactive before you buy, because you cannot get your money back if you pay with a credit card in most of these auctions 90% of the time. You can put a claim in with your insurance carrier, but good luck. All right, because of the terms and conditions the auction houses have, and if you think it's a Qianlong period Famille Rose vase, and they didn't state flatly that it is a Famille Rose Qianlong vase, and you paid $10,000 for it, you're going to spend $10,000 in legal fees trying to get your $10,000 back. So don't buy it and then try to figure out if it's authentic. Find out something's authentic and okay before you click the bid button. All these auctions have plenty of lead time. Do your homework, and we're going to go through some of the things we've seen that might help you out. All right. One of the things I wanted to talk about first is the bronzes. There are a mountain of bronzes coming onto the market right now. They're turning them out by the proverbial container load. Container loads of bronzes flooding into the market, and here you just have some of them. Royal Gallery. These are all copies. Wealthier gets a few good things, but that's about it. The rest of these things are knockoffs, well-known fakes, and just going on and on and on. So just a word to the wise about bronzes and jades, as many of you know already, are just flooding the market. Fake jades, fake bronzes are becoming a big deal, and fake cloisonne, in addition to the porcelain and, of course, the copies of paintings. Very easy to copy a lot of Chinese paintings. And this is just like one thing we just did for fun of it this morning. We just clicked in moon flask to see how many fakes we could come up with. Everything on this page is a fake. All right, and I don't know how somebody miscategorized one of the lots, because that's obviously a Yixing teapot. They called it a moon flask. But at any rate, these are all copies. And they turn up everywhere. And, of course, you have the most famous type of copy right here is this moon flask with the radiating lotus panel. And we all know that if it's authentic, what's it worth with a Qianlong mark? $950,000 to about $1.5 million, okay? There's a general healthy range to consider. All right. They are everywhere. Everybody sees them. They are making them, and they're making them better and better. All right. One of the things I wanted to talk about is this little auction house here. This is called and I've gotten inquiries about it, Empire Auction House. They sell no antiques that I'm aware of, that I've seen. That's just my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion today. I've looked at their sales. They used to be in Flushing, New York. Now then they were in Boston and in Flushing. Now they're just strictly in Boston selling, and they run auctions almost back to back, 24 hours a day. If you don't believe it, come over here. This is almost breathtaking. It's all crap. If you click their auction house link here, open it up, and wait till you see this. These are all auctions that are scheduled for the month of June and July with this outfit. And if you go look at their price results, you're going to find that 90% of the stuff is unsold. And they just keep running it through on computers. In Massachusetts, like in many other states, you think, well, they're licensed auctioneers, I have some recourse. No, you don't. If it's an online-only auction with no physical people present in the room, the Massachusetts and many other states' licensing authorities regulating auction licenses have absolutely no say. You don't even need an auction license as long as nobody is in the room. If there's no physical presence bidding, which a lot of these auction houses are heading to increasingly, they go well out, so they go completely outside of the control of that state or that city's licensing authority, unless they have something special going on. And the sad part is that there are a lot of really good auction houses that are going to be doing increasingly online sales only, and it's creating a wider berth for the people that sell fakes. All right, and those are just the sales they have up scheduled so far that they're trying to push through at this Empire Auction House in Boston. And what's really funny is if you take a look at where their headquarters are at 166 Lincoln Street, it's amazing they put it in there. This is it right here. This little building with the black sign where it says Empire. The M is fallen off their sign. And they have another business in there that says Pad Match or something. I've never heard of it. I don't know what it is. And this is their little showroom window, and they do invite you to come in. There is a bar next door, so you could go over and have a few belts after you go through there. You might want one, especially if you ended up buying something. And then over to here we have, let me see, this is one of their sales, just as an example. And you'll notice down here that overwhelmingly lot pass, that actually sold, amazingly. That sold, but lot passed is sort of their standard thing, okay? And there are people, though, look, I mean, people are buying the Yixing teapots for whatever reason, but most of every lot in here, all this Famille Rose stuff, all the monochromes, all that passed pretty much. All right, and now over here to this. This is a bowl that's turned up, down, and I had 2 inquiries on this. This is Charlotte's Auction in Sarasota, Florida, of a Schwinde, allegedly market period bowl, and they've added some sort of book above it to try to convince you that it's authentic. This bowl is brand new. This is not brand new in that it was made in the last 40 years. It's a total fake. And if it wasn't, it would have bids all over the place. The blue is blotchy and unattractive. I just don't like it. And it has a very ridiculously low estimate, $5,000 to $8,000. The authentic ones of these, of course, sell for, $750,000, million and a half, up in that range. So you know what it is right away. All right, and there's no description other than what they called it in the title, blank, and they have almost a 30% buyer's premium, 28%. Yikes. And ditto for this Schwinde covered jar. It's not even shaped like a Ming jar. It's shaped like a Qing type of sort of pastiche of a jar. But I have to say something here, and I want you to see this. The foot rims on these are getting increasingly better. I mean, this isn't a great foot rim, but it's going to fool a lot of people. All right, it's hand cut and beveled and all that. The mark, of course, is perfect. Marks mean nothing. Marks mean nothing. Look at the mark last, all right, or take it into account last. When all else tells you roughly how old it is, then look at the mark to see if you agree with it or not. And just remember that a mark cannot be older than the most recent, the most recent element on a piece. So if you have something that's got a Ming mark on it, but it's got Famille Rose decoration, it's not Ming because there was no Famille Rose decoration in the Ming Dynasty. All right. Anyway, this is a $300 estimate, $1,200 to $1,500. A $300 opening bid, $1,200 to $1,500 estimate. Just ridiculous. It's just rubbish. All right. And there's a lot of it. It goes on and on and on. All right. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out was this is something that this auction house did. This is Rivertown Antiques and Estate Services in Texas. All right. Always be careful bidding in things in Texas, and because they have very lax laws down there when it comes to trade. Including insurance. Never buy insurance for yourself if they're not licensed and admitted into your home state. If it's just a Texas insurance company, stay the heck away from it because they don't require much in funding to start your own insurance. You can start your own car insurance company down there for nothing. All right, now this is interesting. You see this vase and this vase, all right, and they're trying to push it as from this really good collection. And here's one of those 2 vases here. And if you click on this button, what you get is this. All right, and there's that vase that we just looked at. And here's another vase over here that's also, I believe, in the, in the scene, this one. They're both in this picture, all right? Here and here, okay? And you think, boy, that's pretty good. That's a very fancy old living room, all very nice herder furniture, beautifully done. Looks like a cropsey up here in the corner. Nice paintings, all kinds of Chinese stuff. Really, that looks pretty convincing. Problem. All right, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you the original photograph. This is the original photograph. This photograph is apparently this is one of the museums in New York City, one of the rooms of some very famous historic house that was featured in Old House magazine. And you'll notice here's the original photograph before it became a black and white, and before it grew two vases. On this stand where one of the blue and white vases is a group of flowers, and on this vase over here is an urn. Okay, those are not Chinese. All right, so there's that, and then you have this. All right, so what they did was obviously they photoshopped it in. They created drop shadows. They did the whole thing, and there you have it. And they matched the intensity of the drop shadow against the plates that are in the original, so it looks very consistent. Whoever did it was pretty good with Photoshop, but the photograph is a fake, and so forth. And unfortunately, the Yongchen vase sold for $8,500, and it was a copy. Okay. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you was this piece here. All right, is this bronze. Okay, they had a section of Yongluo bronze, and you think, oh my gosh, a Yongluo bronze. Mark and period, no less. They're very, very rare. They're worth a huge amount of money. This sold for $4,750. It is a brand new fake. All right, and they, again, here in this picture, came up with this photograph, and there's the bronze sitting on the mantle of this very old living room. Photograph looks like it was taken in the 1930s or something. Very interesting. Well, we have some imaging software. We can search the internet on about 4 different search engines, Yandex, Google, so forth. And we found the original photograph that this was taken from. All right. And voila, this is the room. And this is the Kenneth Roberts living room in Kennebunk, Maine, circa 1939. It is a historic house. It doesn't have a Buddha on the mantle. They did have a Buddha up here. And they had some Japanese, looks like little Japanese lanterns. But there was no Buddha on the mantle in the original picture. So once again, they got a hold of Photoshop, and they dropped that in there, and they gave it a nice little slight drop shadow. And you think, oh my gosh, I'm buying the one. It's obviously period because the picture was taken, a long time ago. No, it's a fake. All right, and then on to the next one, which is use this photograph. This is even more interesting. This is another bronze, this one, okay? And there's a series of bronzes in the sale, and they claim that they all came out of this collection. And here they show an image of the room that it was in. All right, well, we did some additional looking, and this is what we found. There's the original room, and even the bronze here looks a bit different, doesn't it? The original photograph was done in color, and this was I found it was in a couple of magazine articles on high-end Victorian furniture and furnishings. Again, they grabbed Photoshop, opened it up, and added the pictures, okay? Pictures can lie, okay, is the point. And we've just seen 3 glaring examples, and they're all very convincing. They're all very, the first one with the blue and white bases, whoever does their Photoshop work, he's really good at it. And whoever did this is very good at it. All right, but it's a fake. These pictures that have nothing to do with the object, and it's just pure misrepresentation and advertising. That's all there is to it. Now, over here to our friends at the Eden Gallery. This is a whole other swamp of issues always with their things. And one of the things that jumped out at us, and I don't know what the heck is going on with this. They had a series of sales, and they said they had belonged to the collection of, let's see, we're going to blow this back, General Yu Bing Dong. Okay, General Yu Bin Dong, and a bunch of very rare paintings. They had some paintings that were supposedly from this family a year ago, and here you have a notarized letter saying that that this stuff is from that collection. And I took a look at this thing, and there's something missing from it. And I actually called the state of Georgia department where they handle these things today, and had a talk with the guy and told him what was on it. And he said that it sounds like it's been altered. Because in the front line, in order for something to be notarized, you have to give a lot of information. And on this line, it says the notarized letter is to confirm that this item, and they use the same letter on numerous lots in the sale, listed above has been consigned by General Yu Bing Dong family, not the General Yu Bing Dong family, just General Yu Bing Dong family. And in order to get a true notary stamp, you have to have actual signatures of human beings present. In other words, if you got it from an individual, there would be a signature line here for that individual to sign off on it. If it's from a family, then you're going to need the signature of the legal representation of the family or all of the people who agreed to it, and you'd have a row of signatures here. All you have here is an initial. All right, and according to the state of Georgia, this is not in its present form, the way it is now, not a valid form of notary anything. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And I'm going to just guess that maybe it got altered once it was written up or something happened. I don't know. I don't know the whole deal on it. But when you're talking about selling paintings by Shi and major Chinese artists, albums and so forth, you want to be very careful. The other thing that we did was we were out of curiosity. I'm fairly familiar with the history of Taiwan, and I'd never heard of General Yu Bindong, and they claimed that he worked for Chiang Kai-shek. Well, the people that worked for Chiang Kai-shek, that worked around the palace for him, provided his security, and even foreign generals like General Stilwell, they were all well documented, heavily documented. There were lots of because these guys that worked for Chiang Kai-shek were national heroes in Taiwan when they declared their independence and became a country. Chiang Kai-shek, of course, was one of the early presidents of the country, and everybody around them. It's like the White House. The people that work around the White House, everybody that's connected to the president are very well documented. You could look up people that worked in the White House back in the 70s and find out everything. The 50s, the 60s, it doesn't matter. They're in there. All right, we tried to find any mention in historical records about General Yu Bindong. We couldn't find his name anywhere for any reason. Absolutely no reason. And unless he did something, he did something horrible, and he's been expunged from the history books, he would be in there. And we tried variants of his spelling. We did all kinds of things, and as far as we could tell, we can't find him. They have pictures of him. They have a picture of a guy that they claim is him. He looks very official, but apparently there's no written record of him anywhere. And you can go over and try to find it. If you find him in there, fine, that's great. But I'd be very, very leery of this sale over at the Eden Gallery. And then you have, let me see, what was the deal with this thing? Oh, this was something else. They claim that this Jiajing period dish, something they do at Eden, and other auction houses do it. I'm not just picking on Eden. There's a bunch of auction houses do this. They'll pull a name out of thin air and throw it on here. And they say Ming Jiajing blue and white 5-dragon charger. This is a brand new charger. That thing has no age to it at all. But they claimed it came from the estate, the provenance of John Gorse, 1945 to 2020. And then it says he was from a Charleston, South Carolina, a business entrepreneur, private collector, a retired as senior, whoever writes these is illiterate, a retired as senior vice president for legal and regulatory affairs in 1981. That sentence makes no sense. And then he began, focusing on his collection and all this other drivel. We Googled John Gorse, because if he just died last year and he's a prominent businessman and entrepreneur and lived in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a fairly small town, there's no record of any John Gorse dying there, being there, living there, nothing. Doesn't exist. So that kind of stuff should make you very concerned, all right? And we'd seen other things like this in the past. There was a fellow named Harnum something or other that Eden Auction was peddling a few years ago, things that were supposed to belong to him. We could never find anything about him either. And he was, by the looks of it, he was one of the biggest Chinese art collectors in the world. And they had, as I recall, fake photographs of things in room settings there as well. All right, this is the kind of stuff you have to do your homework, not only on the piece, if it isn't absolutely obvious to you that it's a fake, like this is an absolute obvious fake, but research what they're claiming for provenance. In today's world, if somebody dies, even a minor, not a major business person, a school teacher dies, you find them in the obituaries, okay? You find people, just regular people, are on the internet once they pass away because the funeral homes always put them out there, all right, in lieu of flowers and all that. So if they claim the provenance to somebody who's dead, be very leery unless you can find them and you can verify they were major collectors or a collector or something, all right? Very, very few good collectors stay under the radar for very long, okay? They get found out. This was something else that is in the Eden sale that's just absolutely, I think, is ridiculous. They say it is from this General Yu Bingdong collection, and it's a peculiar headline because up here it says Lang Xining, which of course is Giuseppe Castiglione, the famous Jesuit artist who was a favorite of the Qianlong court in particular, and they're claiming that this is an album by him. All right, and when you look at the workmanship on here, this painting is absolute rubbish. This painting is so bad, it's unbelievable. It's not. It's just, this is like something out of a gift shop. It's terrible. But then oddly down here they claim the artist. It's like a painting in the manner of Lang Xining fan painting set, but down here they claim it's by Huang Yi. And Huang Yi was a very well-known 18th, and he died in 1801, but he was an ink painter. And he specialized really in, he only did landscapes and calligraphy. He was not known to do copies, and he was not an acolyte of Giuseppe Castiglione. Their time periods overlapped. They probably knew each other, but this is not his work. Simply not. He was I think I have a copy of one of his paintings up here. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. No, I don't think I do. At any rate, he was a classical sort of Chinese ink landscape artist. That's really all he did. And they're beautiful paintings, and they are valuable and very collectible and wonderfully done. And but this is not his work, not even close. All right, so you want to keep that in mind. These paintings are just always do the enlargement thing, and these almost look like prints or they were done in a factory somewhere, but they're absolutely terrible quality, in my opinion. Okay. And then the last thing in here that they have at this sale is this, another thing that's easily researchable as a fake. All right, this is a Kangxi gilt bronze cloisonné ceremonial musket that's inscribed. All right, and over here on the barrel, we'll get over to it in a minute here. And the cloisonné work is good on it, but this is a new gun. This has no age to it at all. It's ridiculous. Here's all the fancy metalwork. As I mentioned at the beginning, and I've said in other videos, the Chinese cloisonné work of the copies they're doing these days is absolutely stupendous. And here is the back of it with the Kangxi Nianhou, the mark down the back of it. And you think, my God, this thing is beautifully made. The light is good. The color of the metal is good. Somebody really worked their tails off to make a fake here. Here's the tripod stand for it. There's the base, the metalwork. And it's absolutely amazing. Signed Kangxi period cloisonné gun. You've never seen one, and the reason you've never seen one is they were never made. Historically, the first imperial Qing dynasty gun with a rain mark on it that was ever made was done in the Qianlong period, in the Kangxi's grandson's period, not during the Kangxi period. And it's easy to check out because we know who sold it. Sotheby's sold it. Here it is. Imperial matlock musket. This is the first one that was ever sold, or the first one that was ever made. It is marked, marking period matchlock. It's all wood. It's not cloisonné. And it sold for £2 million several years ago, about 3-4 years ago, or around $2.5 million US. All right, and this is the gun. All right, and there it is. And it's the only one. It's the first one that was ever done, and it was done years and years after the Kangxi period ended. So you know right away, this is absolute hogwash. No matter how good the work looks, always be suspicious. And the other thing to be suspicious of when you look at this thing, and just say to yourself, if this is like the first, cloisonné gun, why is the estimate $5,000 to $8,000? It should be, in the millions, just in the millions. Imperial cloisonné, a ceremonial gun. No, it's a fake. All right, and there's already a bid on it. It's already got a $1,500 bid, so it's going to bring at least that plus the buyer's premium. Somebody's out some money. All right, so that's it. So the point of all this is when you're looking at things online and you come across things, don't only look at the piece for evidence of authenticity. Look at the provenance if they're offering any. Be highly suspicious of it. Because they are lying through their teeth these days on a lot of these sites, and there is very little you can do legally once it's done. There's very little you can do legally once it's done. Really is. It is. You've got to hire a hitman to send them down to the company and get your money back, and the hitman's going to get you in jail anyway. So don't do that. But it's just the point is that do your homework, ask us for help, ask a friend for help, ask a dealer that you know that you trust for help, and get solid information before you spend 500 or 1,000 or 10,000. We saw in the case in Texas a month or so ago, the vase that sold for $360,000 that was brand new, and it was a copy of one of the famous Tang Ying vases, like the one in the Guimet and the one that sold in Paris a couple of summers ago. All right, so just keep all this in mind, and maybe we'll do these once a month. Let me know if you like these, if you find these interesting, and we could probably do them every month or something. As things come up, we'll try to bookmark them and save them, and then go back and talk about them. All right, have a great week, and we'll be back tomorrow with the regular video for the week. All righty, bye-bye.